Apocalypse Gaming.
Hi folks, hope everyone's well. What I'm going to do in this vid is make myself some terrain for my Eldar. First thing I did is I went into SketchUp and had a play on SketchUp and made myself some designs. So I'll put a wee link up just to the top showing you the sort of designs I came up with. From that I printed out my designs but in flat 2D format. Then took the paper, traced designs onto plastic art, and from there cut out templates, which I've then used to trace round and draw out on the foam board I've got here. It's 5mm thick foam board, and I'll be cutting this out using my Hotwire Foam Factory tools, and then constructing it. So what I'll do is I'll cut the vid here and I'll be back shortly with a warmed up tool. So what I'm going to be using, guys, is my Hotwire Foam Factory's 4-inch knife, and this takes a few seconds to heat up. If you want a full review of it, click up here and I'll stick a wee link to the review the wife did, but I'm going to show you in action creating some of my Eldar terrain. So it's a very simple tool to use, and the reason I'm using this rather than a knife is it will give me much cleaner edges and it will allow for greater accuracy as well. So just to make my life easy, I'm just going to cut out the base shape first, and then I will go back in and remove the circular bits that you can see on my design. But as you saw, that really was like a hot knife through butter, but this time it was a hot knife through foam. Such a simple little sweet tool to use. Now what I'm doing is I'm going round, I'm just sliding slightly out and pushing in the hot knife, because that just allows the heat transference to be smoother rather than one part of the blade becoming cool as you use it. So that came off very easy, as you can see, and now I'll just go in here and cut round my circles. As you can see how easy that is. Now I did get some strings, that's just because of the temperature of the blade. It's nothing to worry about. Worst case scenario, they can come off with a very light sanding, but they probably won't even need it. Try and get that in camera. So again, it's just round, nice and smooth, and lovely. Just be careful, I've got a little bit stuck on my blade. It is a hot tool, so just gently take it off. I've got a little bit much on my blade here of the melted foam, so just take my dry cloth and give it a quick wipe just to clean the blade as I go. And then back in to another section. So exceptionally simple process. I could begin in doing this with a craft knife, but to get these smooth sweeps is very difficult when you're going in with your craft knife. If MD out there's ever tried, they'll know what I'm on about. I'll take those other bits that are stuck off just in a second. And there we go. One section cut out. Nice clean crisp. As you can see, there's the couple of little strings that are on there. They can often just be pulled off, as you see, and that's clearing them. But if there's, oops, off a camera, they can often be pulled off, as you can see. But if there's any that aren't coming off very easily, I can take a very light rub with a fine grit sandpaper and that will remove them. So what I'll do is I'll go in and cut the rest of them. It'll be very boring if you watch me cut them all, but I'll go and cut the rest and we'll come back with all these sections cut off. Okay folks, that's me back and I've cut out all my pieces. So there is the template I used, and as we can see, the knife has allowed me very accurate cuts because this is very close to the size that I drew out. and that's down to user error rather than the tool's inability to get the accuracy if there's any bits that aren't matching up exactly, but it's pretty close to an exact cutout of my template. More than happy enough for what I would need to be doing with my Wargaming stuff. So there's the two bits side by side. There's the rest of the bits that I've cut out, so much smaller ones as well. So I'll crack on now and we'll build something with these bits that I've cut out, but showed you where we're at so far. Back in a second. So all my bits are cut out, as we saw, and what I've done is I've went round with some sandpaper, quite a fine grit, but just the sort of stuff you get out of a DIY shop rather than having to go to a modelling specialist for the finest of grit, if that helps you out. And it was 5 seconds or so, not even that, 2 or 3 seconds just rubbing round each edge just to remove the strings, and that's us get our clean cuts. Now I'm going to glue these together, and the product I'm going to use is StyroGloo from the Hot Wire Foam Factory. And we'll move on and show you how that works. So it's a clear glue. It works best if you apply it to both sides of the object that you're trying to stick together. So it's nice thin layers, so wee thin layer on there, tiny thin layer on here, and then it's apply, press and hold. Now, nice thing about it is the product has got an instant grab, which when you're working with foam is something that's definitely appreciated, because if you know where your white glues, they don't hold. So as we can see, it's got an instant grab, it's holding that piece quite well. But more impressively, if I take and put it the other way around, I'm still getting a bit of a tack and a bit of adhesion. So it's certainly got that hold that we need right away for putting the bits together. Obviously it's not cured, so it's not going to be holding it fully up. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply it to the other parts as well. So nice thin coats. You don't want it too thick, just really thin coats, and that will give the grab. So the glue should go quite far. You're not globulizing it on heavily. In fact, that's probably too much that I've just put on there. Not happy with the amount I put on. And that's again user error. So there we go. Press it together. I'll take my other sides, making sure I remember that for my design I'm reversing this. So you do get a few wee strings of glue, but they're easy to remove when cured. And I'll be putting a wee bit on there. I'll just do the other side whilst I'm here. Oops, not quite fully there, but it takes half an hour for the glue to set up. And this will go on. Or rather, it takes half an hour for the glue to set up, but it takes 12 hours for full cure. And that's both sides. So, nice, easy, simple project to create, but now I've got some Eldar terrain. I'll be calling these barriers of some sort. So that's what it looks like. Put an Eldar down to give you an idea of scale. Now what I'll do is I'll take this one out and we'll bring this one in, because here's one I prepared earlier. Like all good kiddies TV shows, when you make something, have one that you made earlier. So this one has a time for the glue to feel fully set, so it's had its 12 hours, and what I want to show you is some of the strength of the glue. So first thing I'm going to do is bend it, and as you can see with the bend there, the glue's not separating. And if I take and pull it as well, I'm putting a reasonable amount of force on here, more than you would apply to any bit of terrain in normal use. You can see my fingers going white and red where I'm applying the pressure, and that's not separating. So I've got a good strong bond with the glue as well. So the piece is fully built now. What I'll go and do is I'll go and paint them, and we'll see what these look like painted up and see if you like them.
Apocalypse Gaming.